Tonight we're making biscuits and gravy. It's a little after 6 p.m. and this is not just a breakfast dish. This is a perfect anytime, day or night dish. I'm going to start with 4 cups of flour. To my flour, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. I'm also going to add about 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 nice big generous pinches. I also want to add 2 tablespoons of sugar, just like that. And I'm just going to mix it all up, just like this with my hands. The thing about biscuits, these biscuits specifically, is that they're made with butter, and the butter has to be super, super cold. And a lot of people go ahead and cut them into chunks, and it's not a bad thing to do, but to make the work a lot easier for you, it's easiest just to take really cold butter, even frozen butter, and use a really fine cheese grater like this, and just grate the butter right into the flour. So I have 2 sticks of butter that I'm gonna go ahead and grate right in and work in with my fingers. All right, so the last of the butter is shredded, and you can see it makes just these tiny little curls on top of the flour, and this is perfect. This makes it so much easier just to get in and work with my hands. So I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate the butter into the flour by kind of pinching it and rolling it a little bit. And I want to make it to where the butter and the flour come together into these little pea-sized shapes, just these little balls of butter and flour. And this is what's going to give our biscuits the consistency that we need. And the cold butter, as it bakes, is going to release a lot of steam that's going to give it more lift. Okay. Get it with both hands. There we go. Let's see. I don't want to overwork the butter and flour because I don't want the body heat from my hands to soften the butter and melt it. So as soon as I get the consistency that I'm looking for, where it looks like really coarse flour, then I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my ingredients. And I think we're pretty much close to there. Look at this. This is what I'm looking for. This is perfect. Okay, now I want to go ahead and add in the rest of my ingredients. I have 1 egg that I'm going to go ahead and just put in there, 1/2 cup of milk, and 1/2 cup of sour cream. Now, a lot of people use buttermilk, which is great and fine. I don't have any buttermilk, so I like to use sour cream, and that gives it the tanginess that it needs, that we're looking for whenever we do make homemade buttermilk biscuits. So, and then I just get in with my hands. And it's the same concept, the same thing I was doing before with the butter. I just want to go ahead and mix it all in. All right. Yes, perfect. Okay, so check this out, guys. Look at how the dough just came together. This is exactly what we're looking for. It's a nice, rustic, really rough kind of dough. And I'm not gonna shape it. At this point, you obviously and easily can go ahead and sprinkle out some flour on your countertop, roll it out, and then cut the biscuits the way that you want. But we kind of like freeform biscuits here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rip a piece of the dough, just like this, and ball it up just a little bit, maybe flatten it a touch, and set it on my baking sheet. And I'm going to keep doing this until all of the biscuits have been formed on the sheet. I should get about 8 biscuits out of this. And then we're going to bake them in the oven at 450 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. There you go. All right, so the last biscuit is made right here. So as you can see, we have really big biscuits here, and they're gonna puff up and they're gonna bake up so golden brown. I have 8 biscuits right here. They're gonna go in my oven. There we go. And I'm gonna set the timer for these guys for about 12 minutes, and then we'll check them after that. In the meantime, we're gonna make some gravy. So let me set the timer and we'll meet right back at the stove. So the biscuits are in the oven, and now it's time to work on our sausage gravy. And I'm gonna give a big shout out to our good friend, Alan Stauffer, who is an organic farmer over in Wabash, Indiana. He sent us a whole hog, and this is some of his amazing breakfast sausage. This stuff is phenomenal. We really go through it quite quickly. So thank you, Alan, so much for enriching our meat in our lives and our kitchens and our hearts. So anyway, we're gonna start with a pound of his breakfast sausage, and I'm gonna put it in this cast iron skillet, and we're gonna brown it up really, really well. Break it up like this. Now we're gonna let the fat from the sausage render down into the pans, because that's what we're gonna use to make the gravy. Okay, so the timer went off and it's been 12 minutes, and our biscuits are beautiful golden brown and puffy. Look at those. I'm gonna put them on this rack here to cool. And just for a little added flavor, I wanna take some melted butter and just brush them over the top of the biscuits. Just like this. Perfect. Golden brown, buttery. And these are gonna be a perfect vessel to sop up all of that gravy that we're gonna go ahead and just cover them with. There we go. A little more butter right there. Look at how golden brown they are on the bottom. Look at this. Beautiful. Puffy and hot. Okay, so now it's time to get back over to the sausage. We're gonna let these guys sit for a minute. Sausage is brown now. You can see I have these awesome, beautiful little brown bits. So now I'm gonna add a little bit of melted butter, and that's about a tablespoon's worth right there. And that's gonna give me some added fat that I need in order to make the gravy. So from here, I'm also going to use some chicken stock. I have about half a cup of chicken stock that I want to go ahead and put in here and use to deglaze the pan. Beautiful. And this is going to give me a wonderful, flavorful base for my gravy. Perfect. Okay. So this is all bubbly, and this chicken stock is infusing with all of the flavors from the sausage. Now I have milk and I have some flour in my bowl. I have about 1.5 cups of flour, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start sprinkling in tablespoon by tablespoon and mixing it up so it can absorb all of the liquid and the flavor really, really well. So I just wanna go tablespoon at a time. I'll go 1 more tablespoon. And this might actually go ahead and give me the consistency that I'm looking for. It's thickening up, which is perfect. So when you see it get really thick like this, it's time to start adding milk. And I'm gonna pour about 1 cup of milk into my skillet like this and continuously stir. That's the trick of it. You don't want a lumpy gravy. So we have to keep stirring and stirring and stirring. As you see it thickening up, add more liquid, add more milk. Very nice. See, it's thickening again. And we're gonna add about 1/2 cup of milk and continue to stir. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat down just a little bit so that way all of the flavors can meld and come together, but still thicken up. Just like it's doing here again. See, thickening. Another 1/2 cup of milk. There we go. Lovely. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And I really, really love black pepper in my gravy. So I'm going to add a generous teaspoon of black pepper. mix it all together. Look at that. All right, so whenever you're making your sausage gravy, of course you can put, different seasonings, different spices, and I want to keep it like really, really true to original because I love the flavor of the sausage that Mr. Allen has in his product. It's just so really wonderful that I don't want to mask it too much. I just keep it really simple, add some more salt and pepper, and you want to go ahead and continue and stir the gravy until it gets to the consistency that you want, that you like. Some people like a thicker gravy, some people like it a little bit thinner, and I prefer one that's a little bit more on the thinner side because I like the way it spreads over the biscuits. So as you can see now, even though I've turned the heat down, it's still at a good boil and it's thickening up even more so. Very nice. I'm gonna add about a 1/4 cup more milk to thin it out. And as it continues to cook, it's going to continue to thicken up. There we go. If it's too thin, add just a little bit more flour, but don't forget to continue to stir. And if it's too thick, add some more milk. This is looking like a really great consistency for me right here. All right. I'm gonna taste it a little bit on my flour spoon. Continue to mix it up. Okay. That's very, very good. It does need a little bit more salt. And just a little bit more pepper for me. And we continue to stir, 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 stir. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to kill the heat all together now. Stir it up. And another 1/4 cup of milk right there. And that, I think, will do it for us. So as the pan sits on the burner, it's still going to continue to cook and warm up and thicken. So I'm just going to remove it from the heat altogether. That's what I'm talking about right here. This is a good old-fashioned gravy. This is a sausage gravy just like my dad used to make when we were kids. Sunday mornings were always a special time. We'd have like really nice breakfast, biscuits and gravy, hash browns, eggs. I mean, it's down home Southern comfort food, so that's why I had to make it tonight. It's not just for breakfast. That did it. That did it. Okay. So I'm gonna go over here, grab one of my biscuits. I just want a small one, so I'll take this guy right here. Okay. And I'm gonna break them open. Just like this. Oh my gosh. Flaky, look at those layers. Look at those flaky layers right there. That's beautiful. All right. I'm going to spoon some of this gravy right on top. That little flat spoon's not really doing the trick for me. I'm gonna go in for the big guy. Here we go. All right. So there you have it. And making a mess. Because that happens. All right. So here you have it, home style biscuits and gravy made from scratch. Everything is so fresh. It's unbelievable. These biscuits were super easy. 4 cups of flour with some baking powder, some cream of tartar, 1 egg, 1/2 cup milk, 1/2 cup of sour cream, a little bit of salt and sugar in the oven at 450 for about 12 to 15 minutes. And then we have our gravy, which is a pound of pork sausage. Thank you again to Mr. Allen. A little bit of milk, some chicken stock, flour, salt and pepper, and a little bit of heat. And there you go. Southern style biscuits and gravy. And I can't wait to dig in because I think after all of that talking, it's probably cool enough. So good. Okay, so for all of these recipes, for all of this comfort, for all of the heartwarming goodness from Kitchen Bravo to you, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel right now for this recipe and all the other recipes that we have in store. Leave us a comment, show us a picture of your concoctions as well. We're happy to see it, happy to share, and if you have any questions, let us know. This is Keisha at Kitchen Bravo.